No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for December 9th, 2024. WWE Saturday night's main event is this Saturday on NBC and Peacock. NoDQ.com will have results coverage on the website. And then after the show, I will be right here on the NoDQ YouTube channel, NoDQ.com/YouTube. Make sure you tune in, spread the word, tell a friend. Very much appreciated. Now, let's get to Raw. We had footage shown of the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods arriving to Raw, and they got the cold shoulder from the crew, Alpha Academy. People were not happy with the New Day. We had the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther come into the ring. Is he a good guy now? Is he a bad guy? Is he somewhere in the middle? Not really sure. He did talk about his match with Finn Balor coming up at Saturday night's main event. Said that Balor made a grave mistake attacking him last week. Judgment Day quickly interrupted. Balor said he's the only reason Gunther is champion. Gunther responded by saying Balor did not earn a title match. Gunther said he used to respect Balor, but then Balor started taking shortcuts and playing second fiddle to Damian Priest. Gunther said Balor is not on his level and never will be. At this point, Judgment Day headed into the ring, but then Damian Priest ran down. We had a fight break out. We had a three-way brawl. Gunther fighting with Priest and Balor. Then, with Judgment Day's help, Balor was able to get the upper hand. He took out Gunther with the coup de grace off the apron, and then in the ring, he hit Priest with multiple coup de grace and was standing tall with the Judgment Day by his side. I thought this was a solid segment to open up the show. And then backstage, we had Adam Pearce, the general manager, confronting Judgment Day and confirming that now at Saturday night's main event, it will be a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest has officially been added to the match, which I'm actually a fan of, because up until this show, I thought, okay, Damian Priest is probably going to interfere and cost Finn Balor the match. You know, it's the same old deal. I like that they're actually doing a triple threat now. Since I expected Priest to be there anyways, you might as well just make it a three-way and change up things a little bit. Should be a good match. We had our first match on Raw of the evening. We had the Wyatt 6 versus the Final Testament with The Miz. Everyone was brawling. Howdy attempted to hit Sister Abigail immediately on Karrion Kross, but Miz was able to pull Kross out to safety. Now, we had order restored during the commercial break, and we had your standard tag team match. Then Eric Rowan got a hot tag. AOP saved The Miz from being defeated. Then they double power bombed Rowan. Lewis and Gacy got back in the mix. They took out AOP. And then Uncle Howdy tagged in. Karrion Kross tagged in. Scarlett interfered by tripping Howdy. At this point, Nikki Cross showed up, and she evened the odds. She went after Scarlett. Then Miz tried to help out Cross. Howdy applied the mandible claw to Miz, and as this was happening, Paul Ellering threw powder in the face of Howdy, and Cross was able to hit the final prayer and pick up the win. This was the first pinfall loss for Uncle Howdy on Monday Night Raw. It was bound to happen. And I'm not really as mad as some people are. And to me, Uncle Howdy has cooled off a bit. And plus, he got powder to the face. Powder can sometimes beat the best guys. Look at WrestleMania 9. Bret Hart got the powder thrown in his face. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, this is a bad sign for the Wyatt Six? ? I don't think so. If this was a couple months ago, I would say yeah. But Karrion Kross needed the win, and really the Final Testament needed some heat. You need something for them to give them credibility, even though you had the outside interference and anything. It didn't really bother me much. I think it was fine. I think people that are upset about it are overreacting. It's not like the Wyatt Six or this top group that have been extremely protected. I mean, if anything, they have been protected, but they haven't really been used all that much. And yeah, I don't care about the Final Testament much, but if you're gonna try to push them at all, then Kross needed this win really bad. I'm fine with it. I'm not as bothered as some others are about it. The powder, I mean, it can definitely incapacitate you for a little bit. I was all right with it. Now, we had Jackie Redmond in a backstage sit-down interview with CM Punk. First, she asked him about the Paul Heyman favor, but he said it's not the right time to discuss it. It's a personal thing between him and Heyman. And then Jackie asked about the Seth Rollins situation, and Punk said he doesn't hate Rollins. He talked about training Rollins, how they were friends back in the day, and Punk even shielded Rollins from being fired when Rollins was potentially going to be on the chopping block. Shielded him, of course, being a reference to creating the Shield faction. A little bit insider, feels kind of AEW-like, referencing stuff from 15 years ago that most of your audience today is not going to remember or know what the hell they're talking about. Even the Shield debut. I don't know how many of your average fans at a WWE event will even remember that the Shield was aligned with CM Punk when they first came in. I mean, keep in mind, that was 12 years ago. And sometimes it's hard to remember things that happened 1 year ago. Just saying. You know, this type of segment would benefit from some actual video footage of CM Punk with Seth Rollins to remind people of their history together. More on that, though, in a little bit. We had Liv Morgan, the women's champion, going up against Dakota Kai. Basic match here. He had Pure Fusion Collective coming out there and interfering. And it was basically stupid babyface Dakota Kai. She let herself keep getting distracted, and eventually it caught up with her, and Liv Morgan picked up the win with the Oblivion. Now, after the match was over, Damage Control ran down there to help out because the attack had continued. The odds were evened, and then Kairi Sane came off the top of the crossbody onto PFC. Then Liv Morgan managed to take advantage of Io Sky and laid her out with the Oblivion. Now, if there was no follow-up to this, maybe that would be a sign that Io is going to win on Saturday. But there was more, so stay tuned. The match was okay, but it was very much a stupid babyface type of scenario, and I'm not the biggest fan of these types of segments in these matches. We had a Drew McIntyre video package to explain why he attacked Sami Zayn, and he did confirm that he attacked Jey Uso last week. It was what I expected it to be and what it should have been. He talked about the massive blood loss after Hell in a Cell. He decided to take some time off, go back to Scotland, be there for his family. They needed him. He watched Survivor Series, and he sees Roman Reigns side by side with CM Punk, Sami Zayn, Jimmy, and Jey Uso. He said at least CM Punk took a bribe, but the others sold out for nothing. And he is going to change the future. I liked it. I thought it was good. It got the point across that he didn't like Sami Zayn and Jey Uso aligning with Roman Reigns. Makes sense. Good segment. We had a New Day video package recapping what they did last week to kick Big E to the curb. Then Cody Rhodes made a cameo appearance. He was talking to Adam Pearce, maybe a little tease for this superstar shakeup that's coming up here in the near future. And New Day showed up. Cody Rhodes said they should be ashamed of themselves, and they just basically laughed him off. Shout out to D. Martin Fifth, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. The comment here says, I remember back in 2012 when the Shield debuted, they were actually called the Shield of Injustice. Well, that was the idea. They were coming in and they were almost like vigilantes in WWE. But when they debuted, they did in fact help out CM Punk. And when CM Punk was in trouble, the Shield would show up and do their bidding for CM Punk. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen some video footage of that just to refresh it in people's memories. More on Seth Rollins here in just a moment, because Seth Rollins came to the ring to address what CM Punk said. He called CM Punk a politician. And yes, he did admit he went to CM Punk to get trained. He looked up to Punk. Punk helped him get into WWE. But then, when Punk left, when he walked out on the company, Seth Rollins reached out to Punk. No response. Rollins said he got ghosted by CM Punk, as did everybody else in WWE, which is somewhat of a true story, according to various people, that CM Punk did not contact wrestlers that he was friends with in WWE when he left. There were reports of this. There were people in interviews that said this. So they kind of took real life and put it into the storyline. Then Rollins brought up how Punk would tear down the company while he was gone. Did not mention AEW, but did say that when Punk came back to WWE, it was only because he failed everywhere else and only came back because the money was right. Rollins had to make it clear he did the one thing Punk could not do, and that's main event WrestleMania. Oh, that's a low blow right there. Sami Zayn came down, and he was warned by Rollins to not defend CM Punk or they would be fighting again. But Sami Zayn was not there to defend Punk. He was there to apologize for accusing Rollins of attacking Jey Uso in the backstage area. However, Rollins was still upset that Zayn would even accuse him in the first place. And Zayn said that he did that because of what Rollins was saying and how Rollins was sounding like Drew McIntyre with all the complaining. And Rollins made it clear he is not McIntyre. And Zayn agreed. He said Rollins is better than McIntyre, but said that the stuff with CM Punk brings out the worst in Seth Rollins. Zayn said he's going to stay out of it. It's not his business. Rollins thanked him for that. And then Zayn wanted to know if they were good. Rollins said, yeah, but you didn't really feel it in his voice, like he's totally cool with it. However, he did leave the ring, and then Sami Zayn revealed that he spoke to Adam Pearce, and this Saturday, at Saturday night's main event, we will see Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre one-on-one. We're not waiting for that match. It's taken place. I believe we have 5 matches now for Saturday night's main event. We got a 5th match added to the show. Definitely feels like a mini pay-per-view. Should be a fun event. Jesse the Body Ventura coming back. Hopefully Jesse has been watching the shows and is up to speed with what's going on. Otherwise, it may be very awkward. We'll see how that plays out. Next up we had, and by the way, this was a great segment. And just as McIntyre was leaving, or Sami Zayn was leaving, he got attacked by Drew McIntyre and laid out to set up the match for Saturday. Really good segment here. To me, this was one of the highlights of the show. Next up, we had a triple threat match. Zelina Vega versus Ivy Nile versus Lyra Valkyria, women's Intercontinental title tournament match. It was pretty good. Zelina came off the top of the swanton onto both of them, tried to pin each of them, and then she came off the top of the Meteora to Lyra, but Ivy Nile broke up the pin, and then Ivy delivered a double German suplex, went to cover Lyra, but she kicked out. Then Zelina hit the code red to Ivy, but then Lyra broke up the pin attempt, finished off Ivy with the Nightwing, and advanced into the next round of the tournament. I think Lyra was the clear favorite in this one, and she very well could be the first champion. Wouldn't surprise me. Then we had what I think might have actually been my favorite segment. As much as I liked the CM Punk segment, or not the CM Punk segment, the Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn segment, this was even better. So Kofi Kingston and Xavier were walking to the ring. They grabbed the camera. Xavier was holding the camera all the way to the ring. We got the return of the New Day sucks chants. They got in the ring. They tried to explain their actions, but the crowd just kept drowning them out with boos. It was like Dominic Mysterio level of heat. Every time they tried to say something, the crowd would start erupting in boos. There was a "We want Big E" chant. They tried to say that they could have hurt Big E if they wanted to. They don't hate Big E, but they finally gave up on their explanation and just walked out of the ring. It was awesome. And if anybody thought that perhaps that segment did not work, well, watch this week's show and you'll see with the crowd heat these guys got, it was definitely a home run. And there's a lot of potential here. And I think they did just enough. They didn't need to do more. Kept it simple. Let it play out. Let fans continue to speculate. I just hope they have better music whenever they come out there with their music again. Hopefully Def Rebel can come up with something good. That's what I'm worried about, that they're going to have some generic crap next time they're out there. But this was an awesome segment. Definitely worth checking out. And they really needed this, as I mentioned last week. Very much something to give these guys a reinvention. And I'm hopeful it'll continue to grow from here. We had our main event of the evening, Raquel versus Rhea Ripley in an anything goes match. Rhea went right after Raquel. They brawled in the crowd, and then they came back to ringside. We had the kendo sticks and chairs being used. Then Raquel gained the upper hand by slamming Rhea into the steel steps, and then she gave her a fall-away slam onto the announce table. Then after the break, Rhea made her comeback, went for the riptide on the chairs, but then Liv Morgan ran down. It's anything goes. It was 2-on-1. She took out Rhea with the Oblivion, but then Io Sky came back. Io attacked Liv Morgan, and then Rhea Ripley was able to kick out of Raquel's pin attempt. Raquel was going to try and put Rhea through a table, but Rhea countered. Rhea put Raquel through the table with the riptide and got the 1-2-3 victory. It was a good match. Little on the short side. It felt a bit rushed, but good match. Good main event. And then afterwards, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky were both in the ring, and they grabbed at the championship at the same time. Thankfully, they didn't do the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar tug of war with the title. They just both grabbed it and held it up a little bit, looked at each other, and the show went off the air. Io Sky getting the last laugh despite the earlier attack. Not that I thought she was going to win, but I think that pretty much seals it. However, it was a good segment to end the show. Nice little cliffhanger for Saturday night's main event and perhaps the future. I do not think Io will win, having said all that. Raw was good. I don't think it was at the level of last week, but I was definitely not expecting it to reach last week's level. But as a follow-up, I thought it was a solid show. Nice build-up for Saturday night's main event. Pretty good for a December Monday Night Raw. You built up Saturday night's main event and even teased a little bit more in the future. Had some good promos. Had some solid wrestling. Yeah. Thumbs up show. I liked it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, please give it a thumbs up on the No DQ YouTube channel. And again, please spread the word. Tell a friend. And maybe we'll talk about predictions for Saturday night's main event on the No DQ review. That will be Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on the No DQ YouTube channel. Make sure you guys tune in for that. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. Say yes to No DQ, and I will see you all next time.